And Robert, so you've seen this video without going into details that we're about to go into. How did it line up with your 40 years of research? Was your mind
It's
blown or?
yeah, this is yeah. I took the Shahada earlier today, David, and that's it. But actually, in reality, this is the most ludicrously ridiculous video I may have ever seen in my entire life. And everything he says, the truth is the opposite. And everything he says about Muhammad in particular, he's painting this picture of Muhammad that's even more whitewashed than usual.
Um, so that's high praise coming from Robert Spencer about this video, which is going to blow all our minds and expose Wes Huff for his evil and wickedness in misrepresenting the Prophet of Islam. So these are fun times, ladies and gentlemen. We got a video. So Wes Huff, we're about to see this. Wes Huff was on Piers Morgan, and I think that's where the clip was from. I was
Yeah,
listening to it. I was listening to it. I wasn't quite watching. I believe it was Piers Morgan. You said?
I believe it was. Yeah, yeah, he definitely because
Okay.
the guy references Pierce in passing.
Okay. Okay. So we've got this guy responding to Wes Huff, and his objection was that Wes Huff called Muhammad a warlord. So we're going to check this out, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to check this out. We've got the video. I'm trying to think. Anything we need to cover before? Oh, for anyone who's wondering where AP is at, he's at the Turning Point USA, just kicking back with Tucker Carlson. Um, who else? Tucker Carlson, Dave Smith.
Is Dave there?
Yep.
Candace too?
No,
Yeah.
just Dave Smith, not Candace, Dave Smith. So AP's probably sipping on margaritas with Tucker Carlson and Dave Smith, Matt Gates. Who else? Who else is at Turning Point? Anyway, they got AP
Lucas
there.
Cage,
They got a bunch of people there, Robert. A bunch of people there, all
Jake
buddying up,
Shields.
all buddying up. Yeah, he's sitting there with Jake Shields and Myron Gaines, and all these guys. AP's gonna come back. The Jews did everything. The Jews did it all.
Oh, I can't wait.
Gonna be awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. All right, guys. So AP. I think AP comes back Monday or something like that. But today we're gonna go through this video and see. It's amazing, Robert, because we keep talking about guys who are using arguments from like 20 years ago and like recycling the old arguments that we thought were dead, and yet here they are again. So this is a perfect example of that. And tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's at 4, we're going to be responding to Muslim Take on the Islamic Dilemma. I think that'll be Chris, Jai, DOC, and me going through that. And then at 8 o'clock p.m., I think we'll be going through a new Behind Veils video. So anyone who's asking if we've seen it, I have not seen it, but I got enough messages as soon as I woke up telling me, oh my goodness, they leaked all Muhammad Hijab's private messages with his buddies on how to cover all this stuff up. I'm assuming it's some crazy stuff to go through, so we'll be checking that out. Tomorrow. All right, Robert. So let's go ahead and jump into this video. Any thoughts before we anything else before we jump in?
I was just thinking, since you say we're seeing a recurrence of all these old arguments that we thought they had stopped making, that this guy seems as if he learned everything he knows about Muhammad from Karen Armstrong.
Yeah.
And for those of you who might not know, Karen Armstrong was a nun who left the monastery, became I don't know what, became a religious expert. She wrote A History of God and other books, including 2 biographies of Muhammad, a short history of Islam, all of it completely whitewashed. And she said Muhammad was like Gandhi. In other words, she was totally dishonest about what Muhammad was really like, according to the Islamic sources. And this guy seems to have learned at her feet.
And did you ever notice about Karen Armstrong that really seemed like she just wanted to glorify anything that's non-Christian and just blast
Yeah.
away Christianity?
Yeah, I think she was disgruntled. Whatever happened to her when she was a nun, she was angry and Islam is the ancient enemy of Christianity and the Christian world. So she started to talk about how great it was. Maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, she was patently dishonest about the Quran and about Muhammad. I remember actually, David, she reviewed my first biography of Muhammad, The Truth About Muhammad, which just tells the straight story of what the Islamic sources say about him. And then in Muhammad, A Critical Biography, of course, I go into whether those stories are historically reliable and compare different versions and things like that. But anyway, she says, in The Truth About Muhammad, Spencer never quotes the Quran passage where Allah says warfare is an awesome evil. And, I racked my brain. I thought, where in the Quran does it say warfare is an awesome evil? And I realized that she was referring to 190 to 193, where it says they ask you about fighting in the sacred month, and fighting in the sacred month is an awesome evil, but persecution is worse than slaughter, therefore kill them wherever you find them, etc., etc., etc. And she left all that part out.
Not surprising. Seems, yeah. It is weird to see people go through that phase of, I'm mad about Christianity for some reason, therefore I will attack all things Christian and glorify and praise and whitewash all things non-Christian. And and then it's an instant path to attention because, it happened with books back in the day with Karen Armstrong. Now it's just social media, right? Any random blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl can say, I'm doubting Christianity. I'm really looking into Islam. Instant million subscribers. Instant.
Yep.
Instant.
You'd almost think it was astroturfed.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So anyway, yeah, fun times, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't seen that yet. I didn't know it was posted, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I'm sure AP will probably put it on his own channel. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump into this video. We are about to find out why Muhammad most certainly was not a warlord, according to this guy.
Wes Huff was on the Piers Morgan show. He lied about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm going to show you how that makes him complicit in the killing of women, children, and civilians in Gaza, Iran, and other places in the Muslim world.
Because we all know they're killing civilians in Gaza, which of course they're not killing civilians in Gaza. The rate actually in reality of the deaths of civilians in Gaza is lower than the deaths of civilians in Iraq and Afghanistan. It is actually the best civilian to combatant ratio in terms of fewer killings of civilians than has been achieved by any other military force in modern warfare. So in the first place, it's a false premise. But secondly, the idea that they're doing it because of something Wes Huff said to Piers Morgan.
That's the insane part, right? It's like whatever you think is happening in Gaza, suppose everything you say is correct. Matter of fact, suppose it's 10 times worse than even you think. Wes Huff appearing on Piers Morgan is what is responsible, or even loosely responsible, or like, yep. I don't know. This is, I have to say, whoever this guy is, when you start off your video like that, that may work very well with your regular audience. When we hear that, oh, this guy appeared on Piers Morgan and called Muhammad a warlord, therefore he's responsible for all the deaths of every Muslim who's ever lived. Okay, you sound like a drama queen. That's what you sound like, and it sounds like you're trying to freak people out to get views. But Robert, before we even, I'm sure this is going to come up again. Before we even go through this, isn't it ironic that Wes Huff being on a show and saying Muhammad was a warlord, that is actually connected to people getting killed? If people get killed, it's connected to that. But if we say, could all the killing done in the name of Islam, could that be connected to fight those who do not believe in Allah, Or Muhammad saying, I've been commanded to fight people until they say there's no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. Could it be could it be connected to Muhammad's claim that the end will not come until Jews are hiding behind rocks and trees, and the rocks and trees are calling out, Muslim, come kill him? Could any of this stuff be connected to anyone dying?
Not possible.
No,
not
it's
a
impossible.
chance.
No, and you're a bigot and an Islamophobe if you say there is a connection.
Yep. Kill them wherever you find them. I put up the kill them verses on Twitter the other day, and people were actually saying, you are so stupid. Like, the stupid people actually read kill them and think it means kill them. And the smart, enlightened people know that it means something else altogether. And everybody knows that.
So,
unless you're very stupid.
Right here, first 15 seconds, you see this supreme hypocrisy. If Wes Huff says something on Piers Morgan, he's responsible for deaths. But actually commanding, killing, and slaughtering people has no connection with the believers in that ideology going out and killing and slaughtering. It's weird. It's weird rules in Dawah. Weird rules in Dawah. But here we go.
And in all seriousness, of course, they're relying on the ignorance of the non-Muslims that are hearing them. And they don't know. They figure they don't know the Quran says kill, kill, kill. So they figure they can get away with these lies.
Mm-hmm. And that's Dawah in a nutshell, taking advantage of people's ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
The Crusades conducted under the banner of Muhammad, while you call it business as usual. He was a warlord.
The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not a warlord. Commanding someone in battle doesn't make you a warlord.
Does anyone say, hey, anyone who commands someone in battle is a warlord? Did Wes Huff say that?
Nope. Straw man.
Well, yeah, let's see what this guy's saying. And then we'll actually look at some definitions of warlord for anyone who's confused, and this guy definitely is.
Yes.
Wes Huff is a Christian, and he knows this. That's why he doesn't think that the biblical King David was a warlord, even though he commanded armies and established a government in Jerusalem. Wes
Not saying if you command an army, you're a warlord. You could be like a general or something like that. That's different from the idea of a warlord.
Thinks that the biblical King David was a great hero because he slew the evil giant Goliath. Piers Morgan is a non-religious
What's that?
Did David say, go out and conquer all the surrounding lands and subjugate everybody or convert them forcibly to our religion? Did David say, in other words, kill them wherever you find them? Did he say, fight those who do not believe in the God of the Bible and make them pay a tax and with willing submission and feel themselves subdued? Did he say, when you meet the followers of Goliath, strike their necks? Did he say any of these things that Muhammad said? Did he say, I've been commanded to fight against people until they confess the belief in my own God? Otherwise, their lives and property are not safe from me.
Here's the weird thing. So there's the straightforward like dictionary meaning of warlord, and then there's like the negative connotation if you're using it as an insult to call someone a warlord. As far as the dictionary definition, I think David, when he was like on the run from King Saul and sort of running around with his own group of guys and going around fighting or something like that, I think you could, in the like dictionary sense, call him a warlord. In that sense, but you're not in the negative sense. Muhammad fits much better in the negative sense of warlord, and
Well, no, I was just going to say it just doesn't seem to me that King David did anything but defend himself, whereas Muhammad, of course, as we know, and we'll get into more, fought all kinds of offensive battles. So it's a very big difference.
That's true. Let's see.
Britain, and he doesn't think this either. He doesn't think that merely commanding armies makes someone a warlord.
No one has
That's
ever said
why
that.
he believes that Winston Churchill, who led Great Britain in the Second World War, one of the bloodiest wars in human history, he thinks that Winston Churchill was a hero because he led the Allies to victory against the Nazis.
And that's no one's definition of a warlord.
Indeed.
Just to be clear. No. Yeah, dude. So He started off within the first 15 seconds of his video. He was already on this. If you say one word of criticism against Islam ever, oh, you're basically calling for the deaths of all Muslims and you're responsible for any Muslims who were killed. He pulled that stunt. And, oh, by the way, all of these clear commands in the Quran and Hadith about violently subjugating unbelievers, that has no connection at all to anything any Muslim has ever done and can't possibly be connected. And if you say there's a connection, you're calling for the death of all Muslims everywhere. It's what you're doing. Okay, so you already established yourself as a lying, hypocritical idiot in the first 15 seconds. And then the following minute is you straw manning what Wes said. He called Muhammad a warlord. He did not say, oh, anyone who ever leads soldiers in any way is a warlord. That's what you've said. Oh, but how could Winston Churchill not be a warlord? What is this?
He didn't offer any definition at all. So this guy, every last comparison that he's making is completely illegitimate because Wes just used the word. And so he didn't say anything about Churchill or King David. Mm-hmm. It's just he's trying to make a reductio ad absurdum out of what Wes said when Wes really didn't give him any material to work with.
And this is it's just really common for these Dawa videos. It's like, if I say a bunch of stuff for 15 minutes in a video, my followers will, and as long as I'm like praising Islam and saying anyone who criticizes us is getting us killed, people will just love it. Yeah, your community does love that. The rest of us are looking at it going, you guys are seriously dysfunctional. This is massively dysfunctional, where everything you guys say is hypocrisy, logical fallacies, lies, and it's just, what are we supposed to think about the religion that leads to this? No, it's got no connection to the religion. Nothing ever does it. You're a racist for saying it. Let's go ahead and look at a couple definitions of warlord. So here we have Merriam-Webster. Warlord. 1, a supreme military leader. So that would be if you use it in its loosest sense. Then a military commander exercising civil power by force, usually in a limited area. Now notice, if you just went with the dictionary definition of warlord here, it's like what's that?
How does Muhammad not fit those things?
Yeah, so why would you be terribly offended? Like you don't even have to be thinking in the negative sense when Wes says Muhammad was a warlord, right? He's talking about, hey, if we're deciding who to believe and we're going to compare Jesus and Muhammad, okay, look at Jesus' life. He went around healing people and things like that. Muhammad's a warlord. Okay, so you're talking about two different kinds of people. You're talking about two very different kinds of people here. But yes. I don't see why you'd instantly freak out and say he's basically genociding little kids. Anyway. This is Cambridge Dictionary. Let's see. Warlord says a military leader who controls a country or more often an area within a country. So a military leader who controls a country or more often an area within a country. That sounds like Muhammad. Why are you getting so offended here?
Beyond any doubt. I mean, that's every last biography of Muhammad will tell you he did that.
Let's see. Here, so this is dictionary.com, a military leader, especially of a warlike nation. Now, Robert.
Yep.
Could we describe the Ummah of Muhammad as a warlike nation?
It is a nation of peace.
Yeah, so Muhammad, according to the Muslim sources, Muhammad takes over most of Arabia. And then Abu Bakr continues the process, has a fight with the apostates, fights the apostate wars. Umar expands, Uthman expands, Ali expands. And basically, in a very short time, they go out of Arabia. When they go westward, they go across northern Africa up into Europe. When they go eastward, they go all the way out to India. And do you think that could be described, spreading that rapidly through military conquest? Everyone, do you think you could describe that as a warlike nation?
They were defending themselves. It was all self-defense.
Yeah, it's they took over. They took over. What is it, like 70 or 80% of Christian lands, and then spread out all the way to India and so on. They did it by defense. You know what they say? The The best defense is, no, the best offense is tons of defense, apparently. So here you have a military leader, especially of a warlike nation. That sounds like Muhammad. Or a military commander who has seized power. That sounds like Muhammad, especially in one section of a country. Yeah, and then he used it to take over the rest of Arabia. So this is all fitting pretty well. Now we'll look at Wikipedia here. Warlords are individuals who exercise military, economic, and political control over a region, often one without a strong central or national government, typically through informal control over local armed forces. So Muhammad was going around fighting with his band of flunkies and doing what? Exercise military control? Yeah. Economic control? Yeah. Political control? Yes.
Yeah, I don't see where he doesn't apply in this.
Warlords have existed throughout much of history, albeit in a variety of different capacities within the political, economic, and social structure of states or ungoverned territories. The term is often applied in the context of China at the end of the Qing dynasty, especially during the Warlord era. See, they even named it the Warlord era. Imagine someone who's a fan of the Warlord era. Don't call it the Warlord era. That's rude. You're calling for genocide.
Call it the era of the rightly guided caliphs.
The term may also be used for a supreme military leader. So there's a sense in which you just say, okay, this guy's the supreme military leader. He's the warlord, right? Especially if the person's doing a lot of fighting and so on. But anyway, I have no clue, absolutely no clue how this would not apply to Muhammad. You can apply it in a more general sense in all kinds of ways. Zero clue why this wouldn't apply to Muhammad, but our friend here insists.